Tunes at Twilight is back in Cape Girardeau. This evening you can hear from guitarist Brian Curran. At 7 p.m. we caught up with Brian ahead of the concert to get to know who he is.
Talk a little bit about, how long have you been in music?
Oh boy. Well, I'm going to be 47 coming up in August this month. And I picked it up at 12 or 13. So I've been doing it professionally since I was 17. So a long time. Whatever the math is, you can do the math. I can't do it in my head. I'd have to open up my phone and use a calculator. But a long time, over 20 years for sure, so.
How did you get into music? Was it just, listening to it and realizing like this is something that you enjoy, or how did you get into it at such a young age?
Well, my mom bought my dad a guitar for Christmas. My dad played on and off his whole life. And then he decided to buy a bass. And I picked that up for a week or so, just a little bit, and then started nutsing around on his guitar, and decided to get me lessons, and that kind of evolved over the course of a few months. I just got into it real deep right away, but it really started with my guitar teacher. His name is Billy Barnett. He recommended that I get the John Lee Hooker, the Healer album, and it's got Los Lobos on it, Bonnie Raitt, Ry Cooder, all these great rock and blues players. And John Lee Hooker's got a couple of solo songs on there, and one was called Rockin' Chair. And that was it for me. When I heard that song on that album, I was, no pun intended, I was hooked. And the rest is history, as they say.
That's awesome. And so then you're going to be playing at Tunes in Twilight in Cape Girardeau in the beginning of September. Have you ever been to Cape? Have you played at Tunes before, or is this the first time?
This is the first time for me. I'm super happy to be invited to come play. I'm in Michigan now, and that'll be the first gig of the trip. So hopefully I won't be too road worn. It's a long drive, 700 plus miles. So
it always is such a blast. And for your first time doing it here in Cape, that will be so much fun. And so talk a little bit about your genre of music that you play.
Well, I originally started out as primarily a blues guitarist. I was stuck on the blues all through my teens and 20s, and played in various bands, electric guitar as well as the lead guitar player, and just started to dive more and more into the acoustic thing and the solo route. And as I did that, I kind of evolved into playing whatever I like. I write some music, but rarely perform it. And I just kind of went through different evolutionary paths down singer-songwriter stuff, sticking with Delta and country blues, exploring some jazz. And lately I've been doing some old-time flat picking stuff. So it's kind of really a hodgepodge of American roots music, really, is kind of where I'm at. But you'll hear everything from Son House and Charlie Patton to John Prine and Doc Watson and that sort of stuff. All kinds of stuff, really.
That's super awesome. I feel like that's just a perfect realm of, genres that everyone can really enjoy. And so, when it comes to music, do you sing, or are you just playing guitar, or do you do both?
I do both. I'm a vocalist. And I go back and forth. Sometimes I consider myself primarily a guitarist and a vocalist secondary. And other times I'm unimpressed with my guitar work. So then I will consider myself a vocalist before a guitarist. So I go back and forth. But I did not enjoy singing early on in my career. I actually, and this is the honest to God truth, I would run people out of the bar. I had a steady gig at this place called Mike and Men's. And I was young, I was like 20 years old. I couldn't even legally drink. And people would come in and they would order a beer or a cocktail or whatever. I'd start singing. They'd take a couple more sips. They'd leave half their drink on the bar and walk out. But the bar owner liked me because I showed up on time. I did my job the way I was supposed to. I didn't take long breaks and that sort of stuff. And he liked me, and he kept me on. He believed in what I was doing, and I just cut my teeth there. So I was a horrible singer early on, but I really was. But now I do love to sing. So like I said, some days I'm a vocalist now. Other days I'm like, my guitar playing is great, so I'm a guitar player.